Hi guys, this is Daryl. This is the commentary version of Monday Night Ha, which was one of our more popular comedy skits back in the day. The general idea of this is there's going to be two words. Some of them will be in blue, some of them will be in red. I was reading the red lines. The other performer would be doing the blue lines. What we were doing is we were doing the comedy show, and I would pretend like I was completely unprepared for the whole thing and be completely unprofessional. The guy in the blue, gradually over the course of the skit, gets really upset with me for being unprepared, but still tries to put on the best performance he can. There's a lot of physical actions that happen, and I will comment on each frame as appropriate. Here's my response to the opening thing. The first guy has a big cheesy smile on his face, like, "Hey everybody, welcome to the show." And I'm standing beside him trying to act like I'm really happy to do this stuff. And then to the side, I tell the guy, "Oh, we are getting paid for this, right?" He of course responds, "No, we're doing another free show, yippee." So then I just say, "Well, we're not so happy to be here." I get the elbow to the ribs. So the first guy starts up. He's like, tries to get everything back on track. He's like, "But as I was saying, for the next 4 hours," and then I cut him off, and I get a little bit upset. I'm like, 4 hours? You told me maybe an hour. And of course, his response is that he lied, just to trick me into going to do the show with him, and that now is probably a good time for me to do something funny. I, of course, am completely unprepared for the show, so I'm like, well, what should I be doing? That's funny. And then here he tries to, condescending, sort of like, "I don't know, well, maybe you should try something from the script," a sort of hint thing. Here's where you realize that I am completely unprepared for the show. I didn't really read the skits. We start walking in opposite directions. With my back to him, he puts on a goofy smile and starts hopping across the stage like a bunny rabbit, first surprise to the crowd. Then in his cheesiest voice, he says, "How you doing, Buddy Beaver?" I am, of course, completely unaware of what's going on and why he's hopping across the stage like a bunny rabbit. So I do my best, and, well, I suppose I'm fine. After a pause and a brief stare down, he snaps, breaks out of character. He's like, "Darn it, man, that's not the line." And I respond, "Well, oops, I'm sorry, man." He then tries to inform me that we're doing the Hoppy Rabbit and Buddy Beaver skit, remember? Which I have a look on my face of course not, but I'll just go along with it. So then I try to convince him, "Hey, everything's going to be all right. Let's just, sort of do this again." We separate. He hops back across the stage with the goofy look on his face and does his little voice. Meanwhile, I'm looking at a sheet of paper, trying to hurry up and read my lines because I didn't bother reading it before the show. And here you see me reading the lines, and of course I screw them up. He ignores it and keeps going along. Here he introduces the word superbalicious, which became a big hit among the crowd. And he keeps trying to put on the performance, putting on his happy face. And then in really slow, you could tell I'm visibly reading. I'm like, "Funny you should ask, my furry little buddy. At this point, he snatches the paper away from me angrily, breaking character again. And then you see that here he starts scolding me like, "Oh, you didn't bother reading the script, did you?" So then I admit, no, I didn't really read it. I sort of blew it off. Here he gets really, really upset at me and, talks about how he did so much effort into writing it and all that. And here I tell him, "Hey, it's just not good. In fact, you should probably just give it up writing altogether." Then he snaps at me. "That was a work of art. We were actually originally well, not we, I actually wrote the whole script, which is the funny part of the whole thing, but I actually wrote this for our performance at the Fall Arts Crawl, an art festival. So I was a little more ironic about it. And here I make fun of the word superbalicious. And then, of course, I keep making fun of it. And here he tries to defend the word, saying that it's a great word. And here he tries to lead the crowd into chanting out superbalicious, superbalicious. And then here he says that's going to become our new catchphrase. I, of course, have my doubts about it and, give him a little shot about how everything sucks except for when he started hopping. Here he gets extremely defensive and very angry at me and tells me it takes talent to hop like that. And here, of course, I tease him and make fun of him and say, yeah, the hopping was great. In fact, it was superbalicious, which only further incites the anger. And then here I tease him again. I'm like, I think you should start hopping again. He snaps back at me, no, you just want to make fun of me. Again. I then turn to the crowd to try to force him to bunny hop. And I yell out, who wants to see him hop like a bunny? This normally gets the crowd to just go nuts and cheer like crazy. So he gives me an angry, frustrated, I hate you so much. But then he tries to put on his, performance face and regain his composure and starts hopping around the stage like a bunny rabbit again. I am laughing behind his back, of course, and then I start teasing him. I'm like, how you doing, buddy beaver? At this point, he stops hopping, gets really mad at me, and snaps and tells me that I'm Buddy Beaver and he's Hoppy Rabbit. Of course, rip back, yep, so start hopping. He gets really upset at me. Can you be serious? And here I go, dude, we can't be serious. We're pretending to be comedians. And he snaps the loudest he has yet. We're not pretending. Then he tries to regain his composure, put on a smiley face, turn back to the crowd, wink and give the okay sign and says, we're really good comedians. I then give a cheesy thumbs up and a fake smile like, yep, we're superbalicious. Which, of course, gets more anger out of him. He tries to regain control and says, we even have our own weekly comedy show. I interrupt him, yep, Monday Night Ha. And then he snaps at me again, ha, it's Monday Night Ha. I then change into a normal performance, coming to you live from a place near you, which always ends up changing it to the name of the place we're actually performing. And then both of us together give our cheesy little snap of the fingers and point to the crowd. It's superbalicious. And that's the end.